Song of Sigrid is one of just 2 episodes that show creator Zack Snyder directed for Twilight of the Gods, and it's hard to miss his fingerprints. A surprising appearance by Jesus Christ puts the finishing touch on the huge operatic action extravaganza. This strange flourish is the last act of a program that has mostly stuck to Norse mythology. It's the kind of thing a director like Snyder would do because he believes it breathes fresh life into an ancient tale, even if it's hard to tell how it contributes. The Norse gods prophesied apocalypse. Ragnarok, in which the world is destroyed and rebuilt, appears to be that ancient legend. So far, the first 8 episodes haven't done much to introduce the concept, but we do know that Loki wants to prevent its occurrences so he can save his offspring. If you look closely, you can find hints. As we'll see, war is about to begin. Over the course of the climax, we witness Sigrid and her companions engage in combat with the Aesir and their forces. I'll go into more detail about the many deaths of significant characters and the intense fighting later on, but for now, just know that this conflict is going on constantly, and that everything else occurs either in the midst of it or just slightly separate from it. Although Leif, Thyra and Egil were left behind in the penultimate episode, everyone is there for the fight. Apart from the mayhem, the only other event occurring is the battle between the sad Kona and Odin, so we'll address that first. Odin predicts his own fate. In the last episode, you'll manage to sneak out and meet Odin head-on, hoping to save Egil's life, but this was something that Odin anticipated, or at least hoped for. For reasons that will become apparent. Odin can't get enough of seeing into the future. He can't stop thinking about how he died. Who else would remove an eye or hang oneself from Yggdrasil, the world tree, if not because their passion has driven them mad? Odin wed Freyja in an effort to get access to the satyr magic and gift of foresight, which led to the Aesir's initial fight with the Vanir. But Odin tells Al that because Freyja had already given her gifts to humans, he had no use for them. Odin relies on Al to reveal the future, since the gift has been transmitted from one Said Kona generation to another, and she does. Even if Odin's memory is sacrificed for the gift, his ability to look back will be severely limited if he continues to focus only on the future. Thor getting impaled by Sigurd's spear is one of what appear to be several possible outcomes that Odin sees glimpses of Thor slamming Jormungand with his antlers. The essential ideas, nevertheless, are the same. Even Odin's favor wanes. People abandon him and his sacred objects, and they turn to other deities. As he clings to the world tree, he envisions himself hanging there and gazing down at Jesus Christ's cross. He envisions a Christian modernism. He could not fathom a more terrible end than this team. Yes, as a result of his wrath, Odin immediately disembowels Eel. Having used blood magic to find her, Egil battled his way up the tower to the throne room of Odin, and he arrives just as she passes away. A fresh saved Kona steps in for Al as she vanishes. This one knows who Egil is, but she doesn't love him, or even recognize him as Eoel did. Still, they go in unison. While they are doing so, Freyja shows up and tells them that the Said Kona reincarnation symbolizes a merging of the Aesiri and the Vanir, since she has Odin's memories and Freyja's vision. Despite the lack of clarity around its importance, Egil clings tenaciously to save Kona's hand, vowing to remain at her side. Death Thor destroys half the ensemble. Among the numerous casualties in the showdown is King Tuaz, whom Thor mercilessly shatters with his hammer. Ulfr, the second casualty, having previously called forth an army of wolf-like fighters after transforming into a wolf. Herveyr, who gives her life to save Sigrid, is the third and most consequential. One of the most moving sequences of the season occurs when Sigrid implores the Valkyries to return her to Valhalla and reunite her with her boys, but they ignore her pleas. Hands emerge from the earth, at last dragging her to Hel, and then Hel herself shows up. Despite appearances, this isn't a fatal fate. The Einjar had previously shown up in the fray, the spirits of the fallen returning from Valhalla to carry out Odin's orders. According to Hel, Valhalla is more of a recruiting campaign for Odin's private army than a promised reward. Herber will avoid this punishment in Hel and be set free from the grasp of the gods for good. The demise of Baldr marks the commencement of Ragnarok. Sigrid is offered the option to surrender by Thor at the prompting of Baldr, who is working at the behest of Thor's wife, Sif. No more blood should be lost. The war may stop. Naturally, Sigrid declines the offer. She re-engages Thor and delivers a speech, reminiscent of a gladiator. In the middle of the chaos, just as Thor is ready to murder Leif, Sigrid hurls antlers at him. The spear nevertheless pierces Baldr rather than Thor. According to Norse mythology, the end of the world and the Norse gods Ragnarok are both brought about by Baldr's death. Freyja comes just in time to save Sigrid her revenge by taking a distraught Thor to Valhalla, knowing that if she dies on the battlefield, Loki would send her to Valhalla where she may keep chasing Thor. So he stabs her as she turns to him. At the end of Twilight of the Gods, Sigd and Thor awaken in the halls of Valhalla. Thor informs Sigd that the Song of Sigurd, which is the title of the episode, has begun. Thanks for watching, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe.